Okay, E313 builds on to E312. E313 asks us to use the information in E312, specifically the T accounts, to create an unadjusted trial balance as of January 2013. Okay, for an unadjusted trial balance, the main components that you want to know, you can put a header at the top here stating that it's an unadjusted trial balance, lists the date, lists the company name, but the main components that I want you to get down, at least for this problem, is you have one column for a debit and one column for a credit. Now in the past, when I've asked people to create a trial balance, let's say on a test, okay, I've had individuals create balance sheets, I've had them create income statements, I've had numerous different outcomes when I've asked individuals to create a trial balance. So what I want you to know is understand that the main format is you have one column for all debits, one column for all credits. You are not creating a balance sheet, you are not creating an income statement, but we use this to then facilitate the creation of a balance sheet or an income statement, okay? The other thing I want you to know as well is at the bottom here you're going to see totals, okay? Totals, and these totals have to match, okay? Totals have to match. 89.15 over here, 89.15 over here. Now I filled in some of the information for you, okay, and we'll go over some of them as well. But simply what you're doing is you're taking the balance that we've already calculated in the T accounts and then putting them over to the trial balance. If they have a normal debit balance and they're showing a debit balance here, then you put the debit balance on this side. If they have a credit balance, let's see here, then you put the credit balance over here, okay? The point of the trial balance is to make sure that all the debits equal all the credits, because remember, that's one of the requirements in accounting. All debits must equal all credits, and the balance sheet equation, all assets have to equal all liabilities plus stockholders' equity, okay? So let's start posting a few of these here. For cash, we see that the total here is 14.8 for our T account, so we're just going to put 14.8, and we're putting on the debit on the left-hand side here because that's where the debit balance exists, okay? We don't have a credit balance in cash. A credit balance in cash would be a negative cash balance. Instead, we have a debit balance here. Next one down on our list is accounts receivable. Accounts receivable, we have listed out here 26, so we'll put 26 over here. On the trial balance, and we'll talk about this more as we get into chapter 4 and we produce an adjusted trial balance, but normally you're going to start with, when you're doing your trial balance, all of the assets, then you list all the liabilities, then you list the stockholders' equity accounts. And the reason why you do that in that format is because it helps facilitate the financial statements. You could draw a line from right here all the way down to right here, and you have the balance sheet. You could draw another line from here to here, and you have the income statement. So it helps facilitate the creation of the financial statements, okay? As we talked about in chapter 2, when we have classified balance sheet, and you split it up to current and non-current between the assets and the liabilities, when we're listing out the items for current assets, we want to list them out in the order of liquidity. And when we're listing out the items for liabilities, for current liabilities, we want to list them out in the order in which they're going to come due, okay? All right, so we have listed out here all of the assets. I put in the other balances for you and just simply pulled those from the T accounts. Then we go down to the liabilities. I saved a couple for us to do together. So accounts payable, go over here. Look at the accounts payable balance. We have 6.65. So we'll list that out over in the credit side. Notice that accounts payable is a credit balance. And that's told to us once we get the T accounts, and if we've done our work right, then simply just taking this balance and posting it over here to the trial balance, okay? The next one is unearned revenue. So let's look for unearned revenue over here. We got 3.7 listed over here for unearned revenue, so we'll list that out. Rest of the balances have been listed for you. Quick note, I want you to put a star right here to expenses down here, and then a star for revenues. One thing that individuals mess up when they're doing the trial balance, if they get the format right, next thing that they sometimes reverse is expenses and revenues. Notice expenses have a debit balance. They're a normal debit balance. You increase an expense with a debit. You increase revenues with a credit. You increase revenues with a credit. So just understand that expenses go on the left here and the revenues go on the right. Okay? And these should be the requirements for E313. Please let me know if you have any questions, and make sure whenever you do your trial balance that those totals always match. If not, you've done something wrong, so you'll have to go back and check what it is.